Y'all, I'm super excited to talk to you about how you can reflect your greatness, not your mess. And I'm super excited about this conversation. And number one, because I think it's something that people really, really get twisted. Transparency is not an easy thing to get done, but transparency is super important when you're trying to reflect your greatness and not your mess. You got to reflect all of yourself, your whole ass self, not just pieces of you that you think other people will love. I want you to reflect all pieces of you, and I'm going to teach you how to do that today. So without any further ado, let's get into my theme music, and then we'll get into this live stream presentation. Peace. Yes. Well, welcome to my live stream where creatives, visionaries, innovators, coaches, and entrepreneurs, those of you I call authentically distinct folks, people like you and me, we come together and focus on being our authentic selves for greater joy and impact for ourselves, but also for those we touch with our unique gifts, talents, and abilities. And today we will be talking about how you can get clear in what your authentic possibilities are. What does that look like? How do you reflect those authentic possibilities? How do you reflect your greatness, not your mess? You want to make sure that you're on top of what matters to you. And it's difficult to do that if you don't know how to get to authentic transparency. How do you share things that matter to you, whether they're an opportunity, a possibility, or a problem? You want to get really, really clear in how to reflect your greatness, not your mess. And as I am your guide to power, agency, and freedom today, let me introduce myself. I am Ebony L. Green of Authentic Distinction, where I help authentically distinct and neurodistinct folks develop deeper connections and impact in their life, their career, and their business without compromising their authenticity, their desires, and their values. I am the only certified life and business coach who teaches you how to use your authenticity so that you can create actionable safe spaces for yourself and when you're with others. I do this by guiding you to make sense of the greatness in your head without judging your truth, your worth, or your creativity so that you can bring your ass. That's how you grow, shine, and do the most. And I'm very interested in you doing that. That's why I'm unapologetically known as the Ratchet Sage, because I am not playing with your greatness and I refuse to see you ashy in these streets. I want you to know your impact has the capacity to be distinct and therefore extremely valuable and sought after. And that this only happens when you have safe spaces so that you can shine in your authenticity and your unique capabilities. And that, folks, is the core of my work, teaching you how to develop clarity, confidence, and resilience and what makes you authentic so that you have the ability to create actionable safe spaces everywhere you go for scaled impact. And I know if you're here listening to my live stream, you're an authentically distinct intellectual visionary and you want to get this scaled impact out. And I want to help you do that. And a big part of getting to where you want to go with your scaled impact is being able to share with others what you got going on. Everybody has something worth sharing with others. But I do want you to know if you are lacking clarity about who and what of your sharing, all of it is going to leave you ashy and stuck. And I don't want that for you. So today we're going to discuss how you can share your truth with authentic transparency and still honor yourself. How do you do that? Because this is the way for you to reflect your greatness and not your mess. And I want that for you. So this is the interactive part. And actually, let me give you all the link to my slides just in case anybody wants to follow along with me here in the chat. Check the chat to make sure there's nothing going on here, but that is the way you can check these slides and get access to all of that we have going on. But I do want you to be interactive. So drop a comment in the chat and let me know your thoughts on all of this. And while y'all do that, I'm gonna share my thoughts, but I do want to know what you think about when you think about transparency in your life, your work, and your business. What comes up when you connect transparency with life, transparency with work, and transparency with business? I have found that we want to believe that we will know exactly what to share, when to share it, and with whom to share it with. And that doesn't just happen. I find that in my work as a coach that most clients think that if it is good to them, it is worth sharing. and that if it is bad to them, then it is not worth sharing and they should hide it. This is a huge misconception, and if you stick around, you'll learn why that is not true. And in my work training transformational coaches and impact-based entrepreneurs, and my Unlock Your Expert Coach Academy, and my Unlock Your Expert Solopreneur Academy, I find that most new and experienced business owners both think that being transparent is a sure path to successful entrepreneurship. And this is not true either. To be clear, ensuring you communicate and brand in ways that honor you and your efforts is the way to go in life, career, and business. So this is important. Let's not discount this. But I maintain a couple of things. One, you cannot share appropriately without clarity, discernment, and trust. And two, all good things should not be shared, and there are some bad things you actually want to share. And three, all ways of being transparent will not be useful or even work for you. And if you stick around, you'll understand why I stand 10 toes down in these seemingly scandalous yet true statements. This confusion surrounding your transparency in life, career, and business is at the root of what I'm discussing with you today. Because if you don't know the best ways for you to share what matters to you and the right people to engage with in each situation you want to share with them, how can you know that you are not telling them too much? How can you know that you are not showing up as a reflection of your mess and not your greatness? Today, I'll be breaking all of this down for y'all. So let's start by getting into why you can't share in ways that honor you without clarity, discernment, and trust. Because at the end of the day, I know you want to honor yourself when you share. That's the whole point. You don't want to be reflecting your mess. You want to reflect your greatness. You want to be honoring yourself. But that doesn't mean you only share good things about yourself. Sometimes you can honor yourself by sharing the most important parts of you, which may not seem shiny and brilliant today. All right. So when we're talking about transparency and clarity, first of all, I want to be clear. We exist on a spectrum. So nothing is all the way on one side or all the way on the other side. So in the interest of clarity, your transparency and clarity have a connection to each other that also exists on the spectrum. At one end of that spectrum, you have unhealthy transparency that is born of inauthentic clarity. And at the other end of that spectrum, you have healthy transparency that is born of authentic clarity. And obviously, when you share, you want to be closer to one end of the spectrum than the other. And this is why I say that it is ashy to think that you will have transparency that honors you and your efforts if you don't focus on your authentic clarity. When you have inauthentic clarity, you build boundaries that are based on what you think you want and not what you really want. Let me say that again. When you have inauthentic clarity, you build boundaries that are based on what you think you want and not what you really want. And this is how inauthentic clarity leads to unhealthy transparency. So here's your lotion. This is all you got to do to this ashiness. I don't want you to be stuck with it. First, build your boundaries on what you know you want, what you have clarity on and confidence in. This is how you create self-honoring boundaries. And I also want you to understand that self-honoring boundaries are for you, and they govern what you say yes to and what you say no to. So you can act like you recognize that your boundaries are what keep you clear on what you're going to share and what you're confident in sharing. And if you do these three steps, build these boundaries on what you know you want, understand that self-honoring boundaries are for you, and act like you recognize that your boundaries are what keep you clear on what you share and confident when you share it. If you do these three things, you will be able to harness your authentic clarity to create healthy transparency in your life, in your career, and in your business. And this is very important because without authentic clarity and healthy transparency, you will not reflect your greatness. You will reflect your mess. And like I said, I do not want that for you. So use the lotion, y'all, that I just gave you. I really want that for you. And this is on replay, so you can always catch the replays if you lost me, okay? But I want you, and let me check the chat to make sure that there's nobody asking any questions. All right, we're in a good space. So going back to where we're at, I want to talk about discernment. But again, I want you to understand we exist on a spectrum. So just as before, when we talked about clarity, your transparency and your discernment have a connection that also exists on a spectrum. At one end of that spectrum, you have unhealthy transparency that is fueled by inauthentic discernment. And at the other end of that spectrum, you have healthy transparency that is fueled by authentic discernment. And just like with transparency and clarity, when you share, you want to be closer to one end of that spectrum than the other end of that transparency discernment spectrum. This is why I say that it is ashy to think that you will have transparency that honors you and your efforts if you don't build up your authentic discernment. When you have inauthentic discernment, you make choices based on what you think instead of what you know. Let me say that again. When you have inauthentic discernment, you make choices based on what you think instead of what you know. And this is how inauthentic discernment leads to unhealthy transparency. This is not good and it's ashy. So here's your lotion. You want to make choices based on what you know and get more information before you make a choice if you don't know. This is a part of making authentic choices. And don't trip off of what you think, because what you think can and will change as you get more information. Act like you recognize that your choices of what to share will keep you resilient or broken, and that you get to choose that too. Do I want to recognize my resilience, or do I want to recognize my brokenness when I am making choices? It's up to you. And if you do these 3 steps, you will be able to harness your authentic discernment to fuel healthy transparency in your life, your career, and your business. And this is very important, because without authentic discernment and healthy transparency, you will not reflect your greatness. You will reflect your mess. I don't want that for you. Again, so let's talk about trust and what trust has to do with all this. Remember, again, we exist on a spectrum. And just as before, when we talked about clarity and discernment, your transparency and trust have a connection that also exists on a spectrum. And at one end of that spectrum, you have unhealthy transparency that is guided by inauthentic trust. And at the other end of that spectrum, you have healthy transparency that is guided by authentic trust. And just like with transparency, clarity, and discernment, when you share, you want to be closer to one end of this transparency trust spectrum than the other. And this is why I say it is ashy to think that you will have transparency that honors you and your efforts if you don't develop your authentic trust in yourself. When you have inauthentic trust in self, you end up taking actions that are rooted in your skewed view of yourself. That's what happens. And I want to make sure you understand that. When you have inauthentic trust in self, you take actions that are rooted in a skewed view of yourself. And this is how inauthentic trust leads to unhealthy transparency. It's ashy, so here's your lotion. Take actions that are rooted in an authentic perception of your whole ass self. You know, the one that comes from your lived experience and your lived reality. Not just your greatness, but also includes your mess. You want to take actions that are rooted in your authentic recognition, respect, and perception of your whole ass self, your mess and your greatness. Don't get stuck on some skewed, broken, or watered down version of yourself. I want you to focus on the part of you that is in touch with the future self you desire to be. I want you to act like you recognize that healthy transparency will embolden where you are going, not where you have been. And if you do these 3 steps, you will be able to harness your authentic trust in order to guide yourself to healthy transparency in your life, in your career, and in your business. And this is very important, because without authentic trust and healthy transparency, you will not reflect your greatness. You will reflect your mess. And that's why y'all came here today, because you want to learn how to reflect your greatness and not your mess. So this is where you activate it all. It's all about that clarity, discernment, and trust. But how do you activate this? This is the time where I show you how to use what you've learned from me today so that you can go further, so that you can activate what you've learned. I want you to ask yourself a couple of important questions. When it comes to clarity, I want you to ask yourself, am I clear on what the good or the bad thing is that I want to share or hide? You can also ask, are you clear on why you want to share it or hide it? You can also get clear on whether or not you could actually think about what could happen if you were to share it, or on the contrary, if you kept it close to yourself. And with regard to your discernment, you can ask whether or not you know, or do you think you know? You can discern whether or not you know this person or these people well enough to know that they will use your information in a way that honors you. You can also discern whether or not you know yourself well enough to share your information in a way that honors you. These are things you can do with your discernment. But last but not least, on trust. Do you trust your knowledge of what you are about to share enough for you to share it? Do you trust your knowledge of yourself enough to share what you are about to share? And do you trust your knowledge of them to share what you are about to share with them? These are very important questions to ask yourself. And if you go back and rewind and write these questions down, you'll start to realize how you can get really clear and what are the good things you want to have authentic transparency about, and what are the bad things you want to have authentic transparency about. It's not all about only talking about the good things and hiding all of the bad things. Sometimes in order to get to where we're trying to go, we got to share a bad thing or two. Sometimes in order to get to where we're trying to go, we got to share a good thing or two, or keep a good thing or two close to our vest. That's what authentic transparency is about. And what works for me may not work for you. So you got to figure out what it is for you. And these questions will aid you in doing that. Because honestly, I don't want you having problematic transparency. That's what this is all about. I don't want you having problematic transparency because it is born of inauthentic transparency. That's what this is all about. And authentic transparency is all about the how. If you are not clear in the why, the when, the where, and the what of your sharing, then you are not going to be clear in how to share in a way that reflects your greatness, not your mess. If you're not clear in the why, the when, the where, and the what in terms of your discernment, then you won't be able to discern how you want to share in a way that's going to honor you and serve you and reflect your greatness, not your mess. And if you don't understand the why, the when, the where, and the what of your trust in yourself, you will not understand how to trust yourself enough in order to get clear in what you are discerning so that you can know what you want to share. See, the how of how to share comes from your clarity, your discernment, and your self. And when you're lacking that, you not only lack the how of to share, but the why, the when, the where, and the what. It all gets confused. And so you start sharing things at the wrong time. That's the when. You start sharing things for the wrong reason. That's the why. You start sharing things in the wrong spaces with the wrong people. That's the where. You start sharing the wrong thing with the wrong people in the wrong spaces at the wrong time. That's the why, when, where, and what. And that all messes up your how. So this is not really an easy thing to do, but I hope that I've given you some light on how you can go about this. Let me check the chat, make sure I'm not missing anybody's comments. All right. So looking at all of this, you can truly understand this work is not easy. And I want you to think about what I've shared today. Because when you do that, you will get a chance to see what you came here to take away. At the end of the day, I came here to share with you how you can cultivate and showcase authentic transparency for yourself in ways that are authentic to you. So whatever you got from this conversation is what you came here to get. And I would love for you to drop your takeaways in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to think about this presentation and this live stream. I'd also like to hear what your concerns are, what your fears are, because I'm here to help you with that as well. So feel free to engage in the conversation in the comments. I do respond. It's not my team, it's actually me, and I look forward to engaging with you. But for those of you who are like, I'm joining you live, I'm catching the replay, this is really interesting, I would love an opportunity to go deeper. Well, in the link that I've given you in the comments below, you will not only find my slides from today, but you'll also find various buttons with links that you can use to connect and work with me to activate what you've learned today. Anyone, whether you're an entrepreneur or non-entrepreneur alike, because I work with entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs, you can book a free consultation today so that we can have a private conversation about what it will take to get you to the clarity, confidence, and resilience that will get you to the agency that you deserve to have so you can be in an actionable, safe space in your life, your love, and your work. But for those of you who are ready to learn and get some shit done with me, come get some shit done with folks who have mastered their authentic transparency so they're flourishing in their life, their career, and in their business. In my community, we clarify your vision so you can conceptualize it and begin building it in the real world. It is time to get your big vision out of your head and into the world, and you're going to need other visionaries and their knowledge to do that. I built a whole community for us to come together and activate our big visions, and you can join for free today. You can come learn and grow with other visionaries in my community. Who are these visionaries? They are creators. They are creatives. They are thinkers. They're change makers. They are community leaders. They're coaches and entrepreneurs. They're all about that impact and using what's inside of them to change the world outside of them. And I built a whole community for us to come together and learn and grow so that we can achieve our visions outside of ourselves and in the real world. And so you can join my Think Chat Masterminds community today and we can get some shit done. And for you coaches in the room, I do have more for you. So stick around because I don't want you out here ashy in these streets. You can join the Ratchet Sage in my signature series of training programs that are designed specifically for coaches who want to stand out in this oversaturated industry on their own terms. My Unlock Your Expert signature series includes a live webinar with Q&A. The next opportunity to get in on that live webinar is on November 16th, which is a Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And in that webinar, which is great for people who have been told you would make a great coach, or if you're thinking about becoming a coach, but you're not really sure what it takes. In that live webinar, you're going to find out what the 5 pillars of authentic coaching power are so that you can get a sense of whether or not that's a good fit for you in terms of entrepreneurship. And so that's a great opportunity for you to come learn from me what the 5 pillars of authentic coaching power are and what they have to do with running a coaching business. And then you'll also get an hour to ask me all the questions so that you can get really, really clear. Is coaching for me or is coaching not for me? That's what that webinar is designed to do. But then there's the 4-week workshop, which is designed to get you super clear. If you are sure that you want to be a coach, it gets you clear in what makes you a standout coach. What are you here to coach on that no other coach out here is coaching on? That's what we get you clear on in this 4-week workshop. And we get you clear on the steps that it takes for someone to be able to go from the work that you do and getting better within that work, transforming within that work. What are the steps you take to transform someone in the unique way that only you can as a coach? That is something that we're going to be doing in that 4-week workshop. And if that sounds like something that you're interested in, you want to join me. And that is delivered all year as a private experience. So you can join today. And actually, I have 2 or 3 slots left. So you can definitely get into that private experience until I sell out. And then I'll be doing a wait list. All right. And keep in mind that 4-week workshop is the only way to get the private invitation into my 3-month intensive where we build all of your offers, get your authentic coaching process together, your authentic coaching method, get you clear on all of the authentic coaching steps that you're going to be taking people through in order to build out your offers. These are all the things that we're going to be doing in that 3-month intensive. And if that sounds like something you're interested in, you want to start with me in my 4-week workshop so that you can get a private invitation from me to join the coaches who graduated from that experience in my Coach Academy, which is the 3-month intensive. So if any of this is resonating with you, I do invite you to join my Unlock Your Expert Coach Academy in one of these signature programs today, and let's get some shit done. But for those of you who are not ready to take action yet, like I said earlier, you can always book a free consultation with me so that we can discuss the best next steps for you. I want you to be in an actionable safe space for you and that big vision you've got. And I'm the best one in the world to help you get there. So feel free to reach out to me and for that private conversation so that we can get that done. And I do ask that you follow me on social media and help me beat these algorithms. I am at Authentic Distinction everywhere except for Twitter, who is the ultimate hater, where I am at True Distinction. They're trying to silence Black, autistic, and ratchet women out here, and I know y'all won't let them. So follow me today and help me beat these algorithms. And in the event that you clip or sample anything I've said today, please tag me accordingly and let folks know for attribution and homage. I really appreciate that because they are also out here trying to steal ingenious, innovative greatness because they haven't mastered authentic transparency in their life, career, or business. They're ashy and stuck. It's not their fault. They haven't had a chance to work with me. So let's amplify authenticity so that they do get a chance to work with me, but also so that you can model for other people how you can pay homage and attribution when someone has taught you something great. This is how you can bring your ass or your actionable safe spaces everywhere you go. And those are my bring your ass next steps for y'all. After you've heard all of this from me today, I know you want to get a better hold on how to cultivate and harness your authentic transparency in ways that honor you and serve you so that you can reflect your greatness and not your mess. And if you wanted further support after our conversation today, I wanted you to know that I am here as a solution with the knowledge, strategy, resources, and tools to keep you in action that is born of your authentic agency. I will be live again, same time and same place on the social media streets, and I will be talking about how to have an authentic relationship with yourself, one that builds the trust we talked about today. All right. So come next week and let's unpack this. And don't forget to bring a friend. This has been a great conversation today, and I thank y'all for being here or catching the replay. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for me to close out this live stream with my countdown. So 5, I want you to stay open so that you can explore as you live. 4, prioritize choice so that you can navigate your life and your world. 3, I want you to choose acceptance so that you can empathize while you discern and decide concerning yourself and others. 2, encourage agency so that you can innovate when you're alone and with others. And last but not least, I want you to 1, value your desires so that you can activate all the things that matter to you from the actionable safe spaces that you create using my signature method of Desire Choose Act. Peace, love, harmony, and blessings, y'all. I am out. Stay authentic and be sure to bring your ass everywhere you go. And I'll see you next week. Peace.